A very good afternoon to all. I'm Adarsh Som, Principal Correspondent with Express Computer, and I welcome you all to yet another very interesting and very intriguing webinar with us. So, the theme that we are exploring today is Unlock Quick Business Value with Unified Enterprise Service and Asset Management. This webinar is brought to you by Express Computer in partnership with Symphony AI Summit. The ever evolving technologies are actually fueling the growth and potential of enterprises today. Moreover, compliance and security requirements are increasing by the day, because of which the enterprises today actually have to utilize their IT assets to its fullest. However, we've seen that most enterprises are actually struggling to manage their IT assets, their life cycle of the IT assets. You know, they're struggling to manage their life cycle effectively, and hence, they're not able to use them to their full potential. So, as a business and technology leaders, you guys can understand the importance of unleashing the full potential of your organization's capabilities. But how? And this is the question of the hour: that how can you ensure that your brightest minds are actually delivering their best? So, in this webinar, we'll show you how unifying IT service management and IT asset management on a single powerful platform can be a game changer for your business. By eliminating duplicated efforts and unnecessary expenses, you will gain insights needed to make informed decisions and drive real value to your business. So, to take a deep dive to this subject, I have with me a very knowledgeable speaker and an esteemed guest, Mr. Jayantharan Sridharan, who is Senior Solution Consultant at Symphony AI Summit. However, before we take a deep dive into the subject, begin with the technology talks and I hand over the session to Jay, I would like to take our audience through the ground rules. So as you can see on your screens, this is an audio video webinar which is being broadcasted live and it will be available as an on-demand feature on our website. We'll be having a poll question in the middle of the webinar. So I request our audience to actively participate in the poll questions as your views and your perspectives are of great value to us. And once our speaker is done with the presentation, I will open the floor for a Q&A session wherein you guys can actually send in your questions and our speaker will try to answer most of them live in this webinar as much the time permits. So there will be a Q&A tab that you can see on your screens. You can use that tab to send in your questions. Also, in case any of your questions remain unanswered, what you can do is Symphony Summit email ID will be flashing on your screens during the time of the Q&A round, and you can send your questions, email those questions on that email ID. Now, last but not the least, in case any of you face any of the technical glitches or any issues, I would recommend you to refresh your browser first. In case the issues still persist, then I will request you to use the same Q&A tab to send in your questions, to send in your issues, and our team from the back end will definitely get back to you with a solution. Now, the last thing before we begin with this webinar, with the technology talk, with the main focus of this entire activity, a brief introduction of our speaker. So, Jayan Dharan holds enriching experience of around 2 decades in the IT industry. And before joining Symphony AI, he had actually worked with renowned names like IBM and Dell. And presently, he's been associated with Symphony AI for over a decade now. So, with this note, I now welcome Jayantharan Sridharan to take over the session from here.
Thanks, Adarsh. Thanks a lot for that. So let me start off and thanks everybody for joining this webinar. And like Adarsh said, I represent Symphony AI Summit. So we are an AI-powered IT and enterprise workflow organization. You're going to learn a lot more about us and what we do. So in today's webinar, we're talking about how businesses having the right, or the enterprises having the right applications which are going to do wonders within the organization, right from customer satisfactions to employee engagements and so on and so forth. So a lot of benefits. So if you have the right enterprise solutions, you're going to have unbelievable results and provide that kind of customer satisfaction from this. So having said that, if I have to start the journey, having employees, if you want your employees to perform, the competition you're facing today, you need to have the right tools in place, because only when you have the right tools in place, that's when the employees get engaged and they're more focused and more interested, because these applications, once they are powerful and once they have that kind of performance, it's what brings up these employees to be more eager and more focused to win over competition. So this is something which we pulled out polls where we're talking about companies that spend time in ensuring that their employees are engaged outperform their competition by 147%. So in other words, how do you get them engaged is to have the right system, right application in place for them, where they can go ahead and outperform their competition. Now, when you talk about competition, you're talking about customer satisfaction, you're talking about the experience. Now, experience today plays a very important role in today's, the last decade. Experience is something which is well spoken about, and so on and so forth, right? Now, also another good thing is when you have the right enterprise application systems in place, uh, the employees are 2x inclined to stay in the organization, because when you have everything which is easy to use, which has visibility of what's happening, traceability of what's going on, and that the journey of digital transformation becomes very, very important. So your employees tend to enjoy good experience. Today, all of us, you, me, all of us are looking forward for that experience in anything we do, booking a cab, ordering food. We're looking not just from the quality, but also the experience, what we gain, how quickly we can do, how easy it is, and it's not complex. So that's the journey we are looking at. Having said that, if you take any organization today, right, the employment engagement journey is something which everybody banks on, and everybody looking forward to make sure that is the most easy and very, very refreshing journey. And the first impression is always the good impression. So when an employee onboards, right, from trainings to what kind of systems the assets which have been allocated, and what kind of softwares which have been all installed, all of that entire journey, right, requires the right systems in place. And that's what you're going to see today in these summit software, which we're going to talk about, right? Now, not only that, the journey itself, once the employee gets on board, after that, within 6 months, if there are queries or something which he or she requires, how about going about making a request, right? And then not just making a request, probably upgrading the system for X, Y, Z reasons. You want to have that, and we like to say Summit is more of an enterprise service management solution. What do I mean by that is that you have one-stop shop for asking, the employees can talk to financial systems or human resources, where we are talking about any salary queries which come up, or even for that matter, the administration here, right? Making sure they're talking about office supplies, or your logistics team, where you're talking about travel, and obviously before traveling you want to relocate offices, so different teams get involved, and you want to make sure that journey is completely smooth, easy, and everything is accessible. And not only that, the team which is working on it also has enough and more information, so the visibility becomes accountable here, traceability becomes accountable. So all of that combined gives you that powerful application, which today we call Summit, right? So not only that, even your insurance, your health insurance queries, or if you have a department which talks about it, you can do that, reimbursement request, all of this, and also making sure the employee is also onboarded in a similar manner. You don't want to make sure that the employee who's leaving or has a pleasant experience, right? You don't want them to have an unpleasant experience. So even that journey, you want to make sure it's smooth. So all of this is what we're going to look into most of it today in our in Summit today, right? Um, this is one of the leading life insurance company in India who, before they engaged with us, before they started using Summit, they had close to different, I think 20 plus business functions, or what we like to call as business units, right? And it was chaos, right? Because every function had its own set of access and own set of workflows and all of that. So what we did is that we made sure we put it all under one single service portal, right? Even though there were 20 plus, this is where we are talking about it being a very powerful enterprise service management. So we made sure for a user, the journey becomes so easy that everything is available under one pane of glass, right? So it's just a click away for them to go about asking for services here. And now this led to a better business alignment. So they also learned that Summit is capable of making sure the processes which has been involved has that digital transformation where it makes it easy and also aligning all your processes based on the features which are available here. And this finally led to saving of time, greater saving of time, saving and time. Sorry, greater you're saving time as well as from a cost perspective, from a commercial aspect, you're saving a lot more there. Right. So this is one use cases which I wanted to talk about when we are looking at the entire system where you use the IT service management along with IT asset management, and then the journey becomes smoother. So a lot more features which you're going to hear in today's webinar. Before we get into that, a little bit about who we are and what organization we represent. So this is about SymphonyAI. This is our parent company. So SymphonyAI today, the vision of SymphonyAI is to transform the enterprise with AI. So any enterprise organization with AI. So you've heard, B2C concept. Now what we are trying to do is we are going to achieve AI with B2B, and that's where we are heading up as an organization, SymphonyAI. So we're going to be using predictive and generative AI SaaS solutions to deliver rapid value through operational efficiencies and AI-driven recommendations. So this is that journey which we are embarking, and I'm sure we're going to be there. And we're already the leading enterprise AI SaaS company. That's something which is also the mission, to build it to further that journey, right? So today, we are, or what you're going to see from Summit perspective is how we help IT and enterprise service management along with the workflows and automation from that perspective. We are 3,000 employees in 33 countries worldwide, globally placed, right? So, and we are headquartered in Palo Alto, California. Now, these are some of our customers worldwide. So we have 1,300 customers and growing. So as you can see, we've broken down into different verticals. And I'm sure most of y'all are aware of these names like the Pepsis, the Kellogg's, and then if you look at it, Smart and Final, the Kroger's. When you talk about retail, even from a financial, HSBC, Bank of America, ANZ, these are pretty common names. So manufacturing, 3M and TDK. Again, Pepsi comes from a manufacturing perspective, not just CPG, but manufacturing. Media, we are into NBC, Paramount. So all this, IT, we have Bosch. And like I said, this is going to grow. You're going to see more logos from that aspect of it. These are accolades, so awards and recognitions which we have won across as an organization put together. So a lot of these accolades are available. Now coming more focus on the Summit. So you saw SymphonyAI, the parent. Now we're going to see Summit more focused on who we are. So as you can see, we have been recognized by Gartner Peer Insight. It's a Customer's Choice Award, and we're very proud that we've been winning this for this is a recognition which we've been getting for the last 5 years. Even this year we've got this recognition, very proud of it. We've also been the CIO Choice Award in the last 6 years, all consecutively we won it. Again, another proud moment for us. Also IDC is recognized as a major player in the market. Now these are Summit's specific customers, so some of these logos you might have already seen in the previous slide. But again, we've broken down into different verticals. So Summit is for all verticals today, where we are looking for digital transformation. We're more than happy to showcase that. Again, some of these logos, like some you have already seen in the previous slide, but just calling out, we have the Marutis, the Max Life, right? The Digis. Again, this is all global, so not very specific to any region, but globally we are there. This is again based on that, the Gartner period site customer choice. We have different parameters which is being weighted by our customers. So if you look right on top, and which we're very proud of, is willingness to recommend. So if the software, the right application, I'm sure everybody, once they know what the capability of that application is, you're going to recommend it, right? So one, and how do we get the willingness is obviously having product capabilities. So the product has those capabilities to empower that journey of digital transformation from what you're doing today to making it an easier journey, right? Also integration and deployment and service and support. Today, service and support, that experience is what I was talking about, is also key, and we're doing very well against our competition today, right here, right? We've also got an honorable mention in the 2022 Gartner Magic Quadrant for ITSM platforms. Again, something which we're very proud of, and it's just probably a matter of time where we're going to get recognized and be there in the Magic Quadrant today from a Gartner perspective. This is again that insight voice of customers. These are snippets. You can visit the Gartner website and you're going to see our names right there among the competition was there, right? This is from ISG, another enterprise service management software where we are on the top tier from that perspective. This is more from what the tool is and all the offerings what we have. So right from what platform engine you're going to be looking at from a demonstration perspective, what are the offerings we have, and a little bit on the intelligence, what is built around, and for you to experience that digital transformation, that journey, you're going to see that information also currently present here, right? So let me show you the one. We are truly multi-tenant. We are available on cloud as well as on-premise deployment. So out of the box, Azure cloud is something which we look forward for, but on-prem deployment is also something which we have. We have a huge integration library. So we have the integration hub where we use API designers to integrate any new softwares. Then BI reporting and dashboarding is available. So other than the out-of-the-box reports, you can use the BI intelligent reporting and dashboarding. Notification engine parsers is available, but more from an offering. As you heard, earlier we mentioned that it is an ITSM and IT asset management offerings which we are giving. Also, we are in enterprise service management along with service automation and AI driven. So Cindy is an AI. I'm going to give you some examples during the demo. System of engagement, again, various options available here, right from mobile app to Teams, Slack, Skype, Jabber, apart from your regular emails, all of this is possible. And who are our customers today? Our customers can be anybody, or consumers can be anybody today. Now, as you can see, since we are an enterprise-powered IT solution, so it can be any vertical, and in that vertical, any business units or departments, if you want to call them, are the ones. So this is something which I wanted to quickly run through who we are, what we offer, and then move on to the demonstration of the product as to, what I just spoke about. You're going to see that how we achieve those, that journey from having that digital transformation happen to either an employee or a user from that aspect of it, right? So as you can see on your screen, so first things first is that we are an enterprise service management solution. What do I mean by that is that not just for IT. So when you say IT SM, most of us think about just the journey which happens in the IT department or IT business unit, right? So it's not just that, but today's summit allows you to have that similar service management journey across various departments like human resources, finance, marketing, retail, logistics, legal. All of them can be part of that, that service management journey. So if you're providing services either to your own set of users or your employees, or you're extending out to your customers, it's easily and doable from that perspective. So that's what you're seeing here. So if you see, this is an IT service dashboard, which we have here, mainly from an end user standpoint of view. So very similarly, we have a human resources dashboard for the end users here. So again, they have their own way of welcoming, to this particular dashboard with some HR policies and knowledge information and so on and so forth. Very similarly, you'll have for finance. So each one has their own way of representing it, and having what information you would like your users to come and ask, or your employees, your customers. You can have that going on here. So two things here. One, as you can see, we are talking about enterprise service management here. Now, along with that, another feature which I would like to talk about is that multi-tenant. Now, in this screen, you're seeing a user who's come into the system, and if he or she has issues with, let's say, IT, then they can talk about IT, or if they want to reach out to human resources, they can reach out as a single panel. But as a system, the way the system understands, it's multi-tenant. What do I mean by multi-tenant? That each of these tenant can have its own look and feel, which you just saw. Not just that, but it can have its own configuration when it comes to workflows, when it comes to approval hierarchy and workflows from that perspective, automation specific to IT related issues, automation specific to human resources. So each tenant is independent of what gets configured by the administrator here. So that's something which is important. So it's not just the enterprise. Enterprise is already there, but also you have multi-tenant available here. Now, talking about how soon or how easily we are achievable, we have this concept called no-code, low-code, and we embark on that journey very powerfully. And what do I mean by that? That designing this entire page by an administrator might probably take 5 to 8 minutes. And what do I mean by that is like putting up the logos, having the colors, background image, having 3 widgets here, which helps them to deliver what the user needs to know, because I've called this an end user's dashboard. So you can have that information. And then also my menu, which is there onto my left. So what should come up here, what color, all of that can be configured within 5 to 8 minutes, because we have that concept of no code. In other words, it's a simple drag and drop. And you can have that click, drag, and drop. If not, if it's an image, just upload the image, like a logo, you can upload it, and then you can go ahead and design this. So literally 5 to 8 minutes, you can have the entire page design. So that's something which we also like to call, because our deployment time is much sooner than our competition, because of features like we can easily have this information going on. Or we also have gold images where you can choose from that, and then immediately or quickly have have a tenant come up, or have this information come up, right? So having said that, now we are talking about system of engagement. How do we engage with Summit here? So like I told you, we have a mobile app. So you can use our app. It's available in iOS and Android stores. So you can download that app and then start using the feature here. That's one. And then you heard me talking about Teams, Microsoft Teams, Slack, Skype, and Jabber. So all that, when you start using SymphonyAI, that's available 24/7, you can do that. Now, when I talk about Cindy, Cindy is our AI. So, you can go about having this digital agent talking to you constantly, 24/7. You can chat with this agent. So, you can start conversing via chat through Cindy, and Cindy is going to respond to that. So now Cindy has the machine learning and natural language processes, and it understands what you're doing. For example, if I say something as simple as now I'm just asking a query, and it's asking, I'm just telling Outlook is not working. So what Cindy does is it quickly understands whether the utterance or the intent of what I'm trying to talk to, whether it is a request, is it an issue, or is it just a simple FAQ, what is being asked. Based on that, it starts analyzing, and then it starts throwing information saying, hey, you know what, it seems like you have an issue, but I found articles related to this issue. Probably it might help you because these articles are nothing but knowledge articles. So it allows me to see what these articles are, and then it still asks, I mean, if you're not happy with these articles, if these articles are not being helpful, I can still go ahead and log in incidents. If you want to, then let me know what I should do. Now, these or each of these articles, which is again part of our ITSM, is part of our knowledge management. So which means to say that our knowledge management allows you to have articles with media content apart from instructions. Now these instructions can be, screenshots, pictures, or probably directing it to a website, or you can have all of these options available. And this is a simple YouTube video which we have. We've made sure this media content is there, but you can have any form of media content within our articles. So some of them, like me, I prefer video content over instructions. I think I fairly do much better when I see it, and then that way it stays a longer time in my head. So for me, I prefer videos, but I'm sure people out there, they would like to read the instructions and then work on them quickly. So you have both options available there. Now, when we're talking about Cindy, Cindy just doesn't allow you to just, talk about, let's say, I'm having an issue, then log an incident, or if I'm going to make a request, then ask me all the questions, what I need to fill in a request form. It's not just that. I can even ask Cindy from an aspect of, let's say, for us, when I say LMS, it's our learning and development, right? I can go in, and I'm sure I've done some courses, so I can go get my scores, or I can see what my other courses on any digital agent which I'm there, or any other course. So another example, what I'm trying to tell you is that Cindy can talk to another application, another software where you have information and where you like your users, your employees, your customers, your business partners who you interact with, and you want Cindy to go and help them. So this way, Cindy can also make sure it talks to other softwares and make sure it gets that information. So Cindy is just not about finding out what's your status of your ticket or what is happening, but it also has this. And obviously, there are certain other features like your Alexa, the Googles, where you ask how's the weather, all of that, and then Cindy's capable of doing that. That's one of the form of engagement within the system. A good thing is that Cindy is always available 24/7, so you can converse with it at any point in time and get that help from that aspect of it. Now, if you're not using Cindy, then we have the typical conventional way of logging incidents, where you go into a page and then fill up all the details which are required from that perspective, and then you go about. But what we've done is that, not just from a Cindy perspective, but otherwise in the system has built with certain intelligence. Now, if I do the same thing, if I say Outlook, it allows me to autofill one. So if I just say Outlook is not working, it autofills from that aspect of it. It allows me to still find recommended solutions here. So if I minimize this, I can talk more about it, because this is over there. To Cindy, I just spoke Outlook is not working. I was not very specific, saying 2018 Outlook. That's why you're seeing much more recommended solution. Over there, I just said Outlook, so it's giving me basic. But here, it allows me, it micromanages, not just autofilling it, but it micromanages more from the article perspective of it. So you have even this. It's not just from having AI, but otherwise also there are some intelligence in place from that aspect, right? Now, all this is all, again, I'm just going to remind you that this is being in the end user's dashboard. So there are multiple dashboards. Before I go there, let me show you how a request looks. I show you how a ticketing works as an issue or an incident works. But a request is very similar, more visible on the eye visually. So from that perspective, you know what you're making a request for. And then based on that request, it starts the journey of that digital transformation. Now, if I'm making a request for onboarding, then the journey is totally different, where you go for approvals. Once the approvals are there, automation kicks in. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little later on, how automation kicks in and how it transforms that entire journey quicker, than what it normally used to take earlier before this digital transformation was in place, right? But otherwise, if I'm just doing an asset, so you know that we are not just an ITSM, but we have an asset management also. Let's say if I want to ask for a laptop, or in this case, a Surface Pro, I want to know that I fill up this form and then it sends it off to the asset team, or it creates a request, and from the request itself, if I'm part of the asset team and if I have access to my asset management, I can go directly from the request and allocate this asset to the user after all the approvals have been in place, right? So now that journey is also taken care of. So in other words, we have a seamless integration between our ITSM and IT asset management. So this is a request example. The same thing can be spoken about incidents, change management, CMDB. All this is where the service management talks to asset management, or the other way around, right? Asset management can also talk to service management. So a lot of that is also there here. Now, talking about that, again, I'm going to reiterate the concept of no code, low code. So talking from that perspective, now let's take this form, right? Now, if you see this form, it talks about the cost, it talks about quantity here. If I say 2, it kind of auto calculates and tells me the total. And then there's a remark. So there's 2 columns and there's remarks here, right? Now, this entire form is totally configurable by simply clicking and dragging and dropping, and adding formulas, adding, if you don't want anyone to change, making it grayed out, making them important through the asterisks. All of that is very simply and easily done, right? Before I show you that, let's go to the next step here. The next step being approvals, right? Now, approvals also needs a hierarchy. Right now, in this case, it's just one level approvals. We can design a completely different form of approvals where you can have based on conditions. So if I go back, let's say if you put a condition saying, if the cost goes above $5,000, then I need my financial director to be involved, because anything above $5,000, I need my financial director to be part of that approval. But anything below that, we don't want to disturb the financial department or my director there. So no need of approval. So based on that condition, I can create that. And it can also be dynamic. So for example, if this is a Surface Pro, then it's one particular asset manager who needs to approve it. But if it happens to be a Dell or a MacBook, then it's another asset manager. So based on my selection, it can be dynamic, right? In this, I've gone directly to Microsoft, but I can just go to laptop request over there. I might have different versions or different modules or different manufacturers or different vendors. So based on those vendors, each one can have a different approver, which dynamically can change. All of that can be configured through that concept, which I just mentioned. So since we are here, let me quickly show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to open that in a new tab about, how quickly, when I talk about, simple drag and drop can be achieved. So if I go to my form builder here, so this is my form builder. Allows me, again, from multi-tenant, it allows me to choose which particular tenant I want to go about changing this. So we were in service catalog. Let me stick onto that. And over here, I'll quickly say I just want to add new. And then based on that, it will allow me, there are 4 simple steps because it's catalog. It allows me to choose, first fill up the form details. So I'll probably say, let's do something like an onboarding, offboarding, something simple. And then let's say the app team. I'm just going to call this as a sample. And if I say next, this is where the magic happens, where when you have the concept in mind, so the process, if you're onboarding, what kind of information you'd like to have. So first things, I can go ahead and name this group. I can say something like employee info, something like that. And I need 2 columns maximum. I can have 2 columns, so I'll say 2 columns. And then after that, all the controls onto my left is a simple drag, drop. Like I need a text box for the employee name. I might need a drop down for locations. I might need attachments I don't need two attachments. I need one, so I'll knock out one. So I might need attachments for employees' documents, which they submit. I can put up a user search where if that employee is already associated to a manager, I would like to search the manager's name, hook up that. Radio buttons if this employee needs a desktop, laptop, or a tab. I can put radio buttons, I can put check boxes. A lot of such options are there. And it's, as you can see, I'm just dragging and dropping them, or I can even click on them. Now, once you do that, each of these can be further enhanced with giving them properties to it. So for example, this is a simple control which says text box. I can go ahead and relabel it by saying employee name, give it a tooltip, give it minimum maximum characters, who fills this, and so on. So each control has unique properties which you can fill up and then do that. So as you can see, this entire form, right? Once I've built this form, I can always save it for future use. Now, in that case, if you see, I have saved a form templates, I've saved group templates. So now, if I can choose, and this list can be, something which can help me to do something quicker. And once I've saved this, all I need to do is just drag and drop that there. What happens is whatever was saved in that template appears here onto the screen. And then from here on, I can tweak it, edit it, and then create a new form out of this. Even though it helped me, I can create a new form and then save it again if you think I'm going to use this. So this is as simple as this gets. So as you can see, probably this can take, if you're well aware of the process in mind, then this would probably take 5 to 10 minutes of getting the whole thing done. So that way you get to design your forms based on I think your process here. I just showed you, if it's for laptop, what process you have, how many approvals you need, what information you'd like to go ahead and seek from the person who's making the request, and so on and so forth. Once that journey is completed, the next one is the easier one, is where you define your hierarchy of approvals as to who needs to get what act. I mean, do you want dynamic approvals? Do you want just straightforward approvals? It depends on that, right? Now, in this case, I've taken an example of a folder access, and I have my reasons why I've taken that. So as you can see, it's a simple start. Somebody comes in, makes a request. There's a very simple question. In our case, it's condition for an admin. But whether you're asking for a public access, if it is a public access, then all right, go to the team, get an access, or if not, we can call in automation here. So the automation kicks in and it provides the access. But let's say it's not public. So condition number 2 is whether it's confidential or not. Yes, it is confidential, but if it's confidential, the next question will be, which folder are you selecting? Is it folder A, B, and C? So if it happens to be folder A, then the owner of that folder becomes the approver. If it happens to be B, then the owner of that approver of the folder, owner B, becomes the approver here. So this is where I'm talking about dynamics. So if I right click, it goes to properties, and then I get to configure. So what I've done is I've created a custom table approver, and this table approvers is dynamic. So depending on which folder has been selected, that particular owner becomes the approver here. Now, not just that, I have a lot more options to choose from when it comes to the approvers, but I happen to customize this and create that. And then if you notice, this is first level approval. The second level happens to be the manager. So this manager's information automatically comes from Active Directory integration or any other HR system which we've integrated, automatically picks from there, and it does that. So in a way, you can call it dynamic, but then since not as dynamic as this, but this is just picking up from Active Directory, you get to go about that. Now, in this case, 2 levels if it's confidential, but it's not public. It is confidential, but not to any specific folder, but just an access. Then what happens is only the manager gets to approve that and then goes to the team, or automation can kick in from here for the access here. Now, in other words, the reason why I picked up this example is that the same request can have 0 approvals, can have 2 or 1, based on conditions. So now this is a very simple workflow towards approvals. you can create more complex workflows with more conditions, or you can just have notification. Like, for example, at any point in time, if I say, you know what, I want a notification to my management, you can just drag and drop that notification wherever you want, fill up the details, and then join the dots so that you get notification. You want another approval, then you can put another approval, other conditions, and so on and so forth. So based on just by dragging and dropping, and of course you need to have process knowledge for you to kind of achieve this concept where you have one, you design the form, because only when you design the form you'll know where conditions can be placed, because you would have asked those appropriate questions. Based on that, you get to build your workflow. Sorry, so the example was not just to show you the feature, but how quicker we can do it by simply dragging in and dropping this. So going back to my dashboard here, we saw the request, we saw how easy it is to go through Cindy or go the conventional way of having requests. Now this is one dashboard. We have multiple dashboards like this. So we have analyst dashboard, where the team who works on all the tickets, all the records which come in, they get to view that particular thing. So this is the analyst dashboard which we have. It's again, it's a very robust dashboard. It gives you a quick sneak peek of what's happening as to how many tickets have come through incidents, how many requests have been raised, how many work orders change and problem. It goes on. It also calls out all the SLAs from an incident perspective, from a request. So we have two types of SLA, one for response, one for resolution. So it gives you information on that. Any CSAT, customer satisfaction, for every incident and request which has been resolved, you want to capture this customer satisfaction, we get that. Apart from customer satisfaction, we also have surveys. So you can also conduct surveys, and the surveys can be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, again, configurable from that perspective. Now, all these are different status, and under each status, how many tickets are there, and these colors represent the priority on each of this. So in other words, you get to decide what priorities are there and choose what color, which can be recognized by your team, easily recognized by your team as to what is happening on that perspective, right? So very easy, very simple from a dashboarding perspective. So very similarly, we have asset dashboard. Asset management, when we talk about asset management here, our asset management is seamlessly integrated with our IT service management. So that's the journey. You're not going to see any hassle from the journey perspective. So all information flowing from asset or from your service management is available in both the modules. So when you're performing audits, either through asset management or in your service management, the data remains consistent and it's same. So from a traceability, from a visibility perspective, it's all there, right? Now, talking about asset management, we have agent and agentless options. You get to choose either or one of them based on how your organization works, but both options are available. We have our own discovery. So, you discover all your assets. From that aspect, for non-discoverable assets, we have multiple methods. One is through integration, import option is available. You have then the most the primitive way of manually adding them, but that option is there. I'm sure nobody will go for it, but we have that option going on here. Now, when we talk about offering, we have an asset lifecycle management. What we're talking about is we track all the way from assets coming into the system. Basically, that means it's been in a store, all the way up to retirement of the asset. The entire lifecycle gets captured. What you're seeing right now, this dashboard gives you a quick summary as to where what is, but right from the journey, along with approvals of, if you're moving assets from one store to another, one floor to another, your approvals. We have reconciliation of assets. Then we also do hardware asset management and software asset management, because we track both. So all your hardware variances, your warranties of your hardware, all that gets tracked. Software, your notification, especially from a non-compliance when a license perspective. Then you have usage of software, normalization of software, all that gets tracked. So hardware asset management, software asset management also available. Then quick summary of all the operating systems which are there. And then, like I told you, we capture warranty information, we capture the age of the asset, how many assets have sent to a repair center. Then we also have this where, some of the asset and service management come hand in hand, which makes the journey easy, especially when you allocate assets. You would like your users to accept those assets, right? Again, a digital transformation there, but wherein you don't want them to sign a hard copy. You don't know whether they agreed it, but this is always there, readily available on the dashboards. So users have to accept, or whether it's a software which has been allocated hardware, you get that. And especially very important, acknowledge it when during the reconciliation process of it, you have that going on there, right? Like I said, discovery, and if agent is there, if agents are not contacted, you have that information here. Again, please let me remind you, this is a dashboard, so you have a quick sneak peek of what's happening. But we have more details getting captured in individual reports, which are out of the box. So what you're seeing, 30 days, or the age of the asset, we said 4 years. If you want 6 months, 2 years old, we have individual reports out of the box where you have filters. You can filter that here. We also complement financial management through depreciation. So, if you want to calculate depreciation, we have GAAP depreciation, which is available out of the box. Straight line method is another one which we follow. But apart from these two methods, you also have a way to introduce your own formulas, which you've been using. For each and every category of assets, you can have a unique formula from a depreciation standpoint of view and calculate that. We do endpoint management, wherein we track your endpoints. If antivirus is up to date, you want to make sure your USBs are disabled. These are some of the examples we have. We call that endpoints compliance. We give you a complete report and a dashboard from that perspective. We also control the softwares which are getting installed, so we call that application control. But that only works in both of this, the endpoints, the application control works only on an agent in the system, right? We'll be more than happy to discuss more on how these two features work. But the concept is we make sure that blacklisted softwares aren't installed into your system through application control. That's a very powerful feature. We're very proud of having that feature into the system. So we have even this, which complements our entire IT asset management from that perspective. We even track contract. I'm sure you all might have had this question. So we help in tracking your contract whenever it's a renewal of the contract. All of this is also available from that perspective, right? So now this is from an asset management perspective. We also have a knowledge dashboard, so which it's used across. So if you want to gather information or learn FAQs, very specific about something which is very important, all of that gets captured here from that perspective of this, right? So you have most viewed, the important, highest rated. All the articles can be rated by the users or the business or your customers who are reading into these articles. They can also go about getting this information here. So these are some of the dashboards which is available here, which comes out of the box from that angle. Now, talking about dashboards, I mentioned earlier, we have our own reports and dashboarding through some BI reporting. So apart from our standard out-of-the-box reports, so if you take the entire Summit suite, which involves your ITSM, IT asset management, all of them put together, we have close to 230 plus reports, which comes out of the box. But then, each individually broken down into each process. But apart from that, now, apart from this, I'm sure you would have a unique way of having your own analysis done, which will be, the output will be in a form of a report. You can use our BI reporting, so you can create new reports here, not just new reports. You can create your own dashboard. So, these dashboards can be your personalized dashboard. These dashboards can be something which is used by your team specifically, where or you can share it to only certain set of people in the organization, or you can also have them scheduled, or what we call as push report, where the reports get pushed to the respective email IDs. let's say Monday morning, 10 a.m., you want all these reports to go out to those respective stakeholders, and then you have that also going out from that perspective here, right? So from a reporting standpoint of view, you don't have to worry. We have close to 150 plus trend analysis in our BI reporting capability, and that keeps growing, right? So it's much easier to embark that journey. So let me show you, one more example here when we talk about reports, right? We have something called an executive dashboard created here. So you can see that what we've done is we used our BI reporting tool and we've created that. But having said that, now again, just going to recap of certain things. So our systems are totally seamlessly, configured. I'm sorry, seamlessly integrated with each other, whether it's ITS, service management, or asset management. Now, and then you have the various subsystems of engagement which are coming up here. So you can use our mobile app, you can use emails, you can send emails, you can use Cindy. Cindy is available on Teams, Slack, Skype, and Jabber. And just to let you know, WhatsApp is on our roadmap. So WhatsApp will probably come as really soon. So WhatsApp is something which is already there from that aspect of it. So and then we have the business intelligence reporting also available here. So these are some of the examples of the reports which are here. So this is again pinned up based on either CSAT trend or CSAT based on location. You can have volumetrics analysis going on. So as you can see, we can create multiple tabs all under one dashboard, but individually they are reports, individual reports, which is there. So I can even, if I click on this, it'll quickly show me, more from a data perspective, not just the graph. I can have that, and if I have the admin rights, I can even change this from a line graph to a bar graph or a donut, depending on what I would like to go about and see that information here, right? So from that perspective of it. So this is Summit's way of letting you know. I mean, this what we've done is I've done a quick overview of what Summit's capabilities are. There's so much more to it, from an automation perspective, where you can automate most of your mundane processes today. Like I give you an example of onboarding process itself, where creating an email ID, having the user added to an active directory, and or spinning off an Office 365 account, having all of that, and plus installing softwares in the selected asset which is being going to be handed over, all that journey through automation. And imagine Cindy and automation going together. That's something which makes life so much more easy, because Cindy is available 24/7 and automation kicks in the moment it gets triggered. So Cindy can ask all the appropriate questions, have the appropriate information, then create an incident or a request for which automation kicks in, and that entire journey is so quick, and in matter of time, everything is being provided. Whether it's a request, it gets fulfilled, or if it's an incident, an issue is taken care. Same thing with assets. You can get the assets also going on there, right? So this is what I wanted to showcase in today's webinar as to how Summit helps or is going to help our future customers who are there today on the call, to embark that journey, to have that digital transformation with the combination of ITSM and IT asset management here, right? So team, can we have the poll questions, please?
Okay, so thanks, Jay. That was really interesting presentation. So here's our poll question of the day. Are you considering the implementation of any of the following solutions within the next 6 to 12 months? First option is IT service management. The next option is enterprise service management, which includes a lot of different processes in your office, from IT to HR to finance, marketing, etc. Then the next option is IT asset management. The next option is all of the above and none of the above. So I request our audience to actively participate in the poll questions. As I mentioned it before as well, your views, your perspectives are of much value to us. So share your perspective actively. And once this poll question is done, we'll open up with a Q&A session. So it seems like we are about to close the poll now. And I hope that our audience have actively participated and shown their participation through answering this poll. I can still see the poll. Can we move forward to the Q&A round if that's done? So here's the Q&A round. As mentioned, before as well, that there's the ID of Symphony's team that's there on your screen. So in case any of your questions remain unanswered, you can send your question directly to the team, and they'll get back to you with the answer. Well, moving on to the question that we have received till now, Jay. So one of our participants wanted to ask that once the request is referred back by the approver and if not responded by the end user, is there an option to close the request at a certain interval from the system? In current version of Tahoe SP3 HF10, it is not available. So would you like to take that up?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've heard that from customers, but and we have made an enhancement to that. So once the refer back is there, the system allows you, but it's coming up, and in probably in the next release, you'll have that information for you.
Right, right. And there's the next question which says that how seamless is software licensing compliance at endpoint?
Okay, well, that's like an open-ended question. When you say seamless of licensing, again, it depends on how we've configured it. We have various methods of doing that now. When you look at software license compliance, we have two flavors from that aspect. One is we manually go ahead and have the licenses mapped into the system against with your vendors, and the other one is the enterprise is more for a complex licensing from that aspect which is done automatically. We have the system which takes care of it. It reaches out to the vendors, especially like SAP or any ERP systems, whether it's cloud or concurrent, those kind of licenses. So more complex versions of that is available. So when you say seamless, I'm going to say it is very seamless, but it also depends on sitting across with your team, and then understanding what your current licensing or how your what kind of softwares are there in your organization, and then we are sure definitely will fit into either our standard or enterprise versions or flavors of it, and we can achieve that very easily.
Very well said. And I too agree to that point that the word seamless here in this perspective is quite subjective. Well, moving on to the next question. In case if requester is HOD approver and raises a SR, will the request still need to be approved by the requester?
No, see it again. I'll tell you something. So we have various configurations for that. So we can have a conditions. Based on that condition, we can ignore the approver depending, like you said. I think the example was HOD. Now, if the HOD, if that person, he or she is raising a request and he doesn't have to, or depending on how the approval should flow, if they don't want approvals, then we can have that workflow set up that condition saying if so and so people or so and so user type raises that, then it doesn't have to be an approval. So again, like I said, it also depends on the way we've configured it. Now we have various options to that based on various conditions. So the answer is definitely doable. So you can have it either ignore or skip, or even have it auto approve, depending on, like I said, various configurations available, and we can do that.
So, Jay, thanks for that answer. But
Sure.
since looking at the time and the paucity of time that we have before closing this, I have one last question from my side. And I just wanted to know, are there any training and onboarding processes that are required for implementing this solution? And how does the support system work for organizations using it?
See, a screening and onboarding process for before selecting the software, right? You're talking about Summit, right? If I'm not wrong, that was your question, correct, Adarsh?
Yes, sir, correct. Yes, sir,
Yeah.
correct.
So see, when you talk about that, you don't have. I mean, there is no such thing as screening if you're competing. As you saw, we are way better than our competition today when it comes to product capabilities. The features, the service. and all of that. So we are already capable, and we've been recognized by Gartner here. Right? So I don't think that is required. But more than that, when we look at our software, we have capabilities of, no code, low code. So our trainings are conducted such a way you don't have to be highly skilled. As long as you understand the process and you're very process oriented, it is very easy to learn. And the examples today you saw in the demo itself, that it's simple clicking and dragging and dropping, and then you can configure. Anybody today, you don't have to be an IT related person, even a human resources or a legal team or anybody, a marketing person, as long as they've gone through our training, it's very easily achievable in that aspect of it.
Thanks, Jay. That was quite elaborative and quite descriptive to the point, to the question that I asked. Thank you very much for being very clear about this. Also, again, I would like to remind our audience that in case you have any questions that you are that you know that have remained unanswered and you wanted to shoot it to the speaker, so the ID is there reflecting on the screen. You can send in a question to email ID, and Summit AI's team will definitely get back to you with the answer. And with this, looking at the time, I think that's all the time that we had, and we need to close the webinar now. So I would like to extend my heartiest gratitude to our speaker of the day, Mr. Jayendran Sridharan, because I know that you are a really busy guy and taking out time from a busy schedule to share your piece of knowledge and share all the insights with us. It means a lot to us. Thank you, Jay, for doing that. Also, I'm
Thanks,
certain that there would be a lot of the key takeaways for our audience too from this webinar that we had today. So I'd like to thank our audience as well for being patient enough, listening to the entire webinar and participating actively in a poll as well as in a Q&A session for that matter. So thank you, everyone. Here, I'm Adarsh Rom. I'll take your leave now. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead.